My name is Dr. Shashikant Hazare, and I'm going to speak on a very relevant and contemporary topic of civil society movement and parliamentary privileges in India. The Anna Hazare-led movement against corruption has raised certain serious issues concerning the parliamentary privileges. Some of the members of Team Anna have made statements derogatory to the dignity and authority of the Indian Parliament.
पार्लियामेंट के आधे से ज्यादा लोग गंवार हैं, अनपढ़ हैं। हमारी भी गलती है, हम ऐसे नालायकों को चुनकर भेजते हैं।
इस संसद के अंदर बलात्कारी बैठे हैं, इस संसद के अंदर हत्यारे बैठे हैं, इस संसद के अंदर लुटेरे बैठे हैं।
Now, on this background, it is very pertinent to explore the law relating to the parliamentary privileges in India. Under our own constitution, these privileges were required to be codified by the parliament and the state legislatures by making law. And until they were so codified, the privileges enjoyed by the British House of Commons at the commencement of the Indian Constitution would apply. That means all the powers, privileges and immunities which were enjoyed by the British House of Commons on 26 January 1950 would have to apply. The specific reference to the House of Commons was deleted by 44th Amendment, in 1978. But the amendment has only made a verbal change. It has not made any substantive change so far as the content of the law is concerned, because now the amended clause 3 of 105 and 194 says that the privileges are required to be codified by law, and until they are so codified, these legislative bodies would continue to enjoy such privileges as enjoyed by them before 1978. Now, in order to determine what powers and privileges were available to these bodies before 1978, an indirect reference to the British House of Commons is inevitable. The Indian Supreme Court in famous Keshav Singh's case has held that these privileges are controlled by the other mandatory provisions of Constitution as well as fundamental rights. Now, the larger question is how to balance these two competing claims. That is, there is a need to protect the dignity and authority of the legislative bodies so that they can perform their functions efficiently, effectively and without any outside interference. On the other hand, there is a need to protect the freedom of speech and expression, freedom of press and the personal liberties of the individuals. The only remedy seems to be codification, because the constitutional mechanism which is in force at present, that is merely a temporary mechanism, transitory mechanism, and the permanent solution lies in codification of these privileges. The legislative bodies have refrained from codifying these privileges because they fear that if codified law is made, such a law would be subject to fundamental rights and validity of such law can be challenged in the court of law. A codified law can explicitly lay down the limitations subject to which such privileged powers can be exercised. And if the privileged powers affect any of the fundamental rights of the contemner, then there will be a judicial remedy. So the court can issue habeas corpus in case a person is arbitrarily punished by the legislature, or if he has not been given adequate opportunity of defending himself, etc. Thank you. Because